So working with a great lender is really important more than ever these days because the interest rates are rising, and having somebody on your side that really knows the ins and outs of all the programs and the different things really has a huge impact on how much money you're going to spend at the end of the day. I'm talking about this really because we ran into a situation where one of our clients ended up going to one of the online brokers, and they really had a good experience overall. But at the end, when they got their closing disclosure and they saw how much money they were paying in closing costs, they were like, well, why am I paying over $20,000 in closing costs? Like, this is crazy. And they asked us to take a look at it. And this isn't something that we normally see during the transaction because it's a financial document. And so like usually it's between the client and the lender in terms of, what their interest rates are, how much they're paying in closing costs, their points, and all that stuff. So what ended up happening is they were charging them over 3.5 points on to do a rate buy down. What that means is a rate buy down is you're paying for every point that you pay, you get anywhere from 1/4 to 3/8 of a point off of your interest rate. They were just looking at the interest rate, and they weren't looking at what the points were. So at the end of the day, it was not an apples to apples comparison to what they had when they were shopping around. All they were looking at was the interest rate, and that's what was the most important thing to them. Having somebody that's going to be transparent with you up front and explain all of these things and make sure that you're getting the best deal for you is really important. I mean, there's situations where it makes sense to buy points. If you think you're going to be in a house for the next 30 years, then, by all means go for it. I mean, if it's important to you to get a certain rate out of it or have a certain payment, then fine, if you have the cash for it. It doesn't always make sense, and you really have to just do the math and make sure that it works out for you and what's going to be best for your current situation. So having a mortgage lender that's going to be on your side and make sure that you know all of the facts about your mortgage and what your costs are going to be is extremely important. And I talk about this because we do have a bunch of lenders that we work with, and it makes our life easier, and to know that our clients are taken care of if you're using one of the people on our team. And like, not to say that there's not other great mortgage lenders out there, because there are, but I find that a lot of the national companies where you're just going online and you're filling out an application and you're submitting documents to the computer, they do know what they're doing and have somebody in the back end that's underwriting your file, but they don't always have that one-on-one interaction where you really have a point of contact that you can get in touch with on a regular basis. Sometimes your mortgage rep is out in California and you don't even realize it. So the time difference can really mess that up. I mean, there's a lot of different things out there. There's a lot of different factors that play into it, but to just make sure that when you're interviewing people that you're getting all the facts up front and you know exactly what your mortgage interest rate is, how many points you're paying, and what all your fees are. So I mean, just get the whole picture when you're working with when you're talking to lenders and getting all that stuff together. And as always, if you have any questions, you can always feel free to reach out to us. And if you like what we have to say, subscribe and comment below. Talk to you soon.